Hey guys, very quickly this morning I'd like to respond to Andrew's live video from last night. Andrew, the man that you refer to as Seer 1, I refer to as Blind 1 and the Jagaban. He did a live video yesterday that I would like to respond to. And before I do that, I'd like to make it known on the outset that I know many of you have inboxed me and you've encouraged me not to respond. You've admonished me to keep quiet. Many of you use this term, silence is golden. Let me explain to you what that means. Silence is only golden when you don't have anything to say. If you do not have a retort, if you do not have a response, a good response at that, then silence is golden. Silence is only golden when you have nothing to say. Well, I've got something to say. So in this case, silence is not golden. I sat last night for the very first time. I sat and I watched Andrew's live video all the way through, 2 hours long it was, which, I think is a marathon. But there were some key moments in there that I'd like to highlight. And the first one being that it is clear that Andrew is a part of our political fabric as a nation. We have tried to shake him off. We've tried to sidestep him and ignore him. But because he consistently comments on the political well-being of our nation, we've had to accept that Andrew is a part of our political fabric by virtue of his consistency. And when I say consistency, I'm talking about his non-stop, perpetual bashing of this nation. That's what I mean by consistency. So we have to accept that he's part of the furniture. Okay? And once we move past that point, we can then begin to sort of define who we are as Zambians within the Zambian political context. And here's what I'd like to say. I believe that to a degree, Andrew's love and his affection for this nation, while it is applauded, it is misplaced. More than anybody in the world, Andrew is the least person that can stand on the highest hill and talk about the imperfections of our nation. Now, it's not rocket science. Our nation is in a very bad place. There are a lot of bad things happening. But there are Zambians at the forefront of trying to fix those things, of trying to bring some semblance of balance to those things. Zambians are the ones that are supposed to be doing it. No one from outside of this nation is going to bring democracy, is going to bring sanity, is going to bring some semblance of checks and balances. Nobody from outside of this nation can do that. Why? Because their allegiance is not to us. Any foreign body that speaks for our nation can only do so to a degree, to a certain point. But beyond that, it's beyond them. The only ones that can save this nation is ourselves. Seer 1, Blind 1, Andrew, the Jagaban, can only go so far. He can't go beyond a certain point. Why? Because he is not a citizen of this nation. Just like I am not a citizen of Nigeria. It doesn't matter how much I hoop, holler, scream, and shout. The Nigerians are not going to hinge their future on my opinion as a Zambian citizen. All they can do is listen. I mean, if they are going to listen. I mean, I don't have that type of clout. But my point is, Only indigenous citizens of any nation can chart a path for a nation. No foreigner can do that. No matter how much he says he loves this nation. And there was one point in the video, and I must say this. There was a point in the video where he became very flustered. He was very angry. He became very emotional. And in that moment, I connected with his frustration. I felt the pathos of his pain. I felt the anguish and the sorrow that he's experiencing for this nation. But when the dust settles and when the dew dries, folks, you must understand that Andrew, at the end of the day, is not a Zambian citizen. So his allegiance is not to you and I. His allegiance is to Nigeria. Folks, many of you know, for a time, I lived in the States. I love America. I love America with all of my heart. But my allegiance, you see that flag over there? People ask me, why do you put your flag on your desk? Because this is my country. It's the only country I have. I, as a Zambian citizen, have every single right to speak the loudest about my allegiance. Now, I know your response to that is, but Mwewa, you don't talk like a Siawan. You don't come against these government officials. Well, that's not my job. That's not my job. That is not my forte. I'm not a politician. There are politicians out there whose job it is to do that. There are people out there that are supposed to provide the checks and balances as Zambian citizens. That's their job. It's not my job. Okay? So now here's the thing. And I want you to get this. As passionate as Seer 1 is, as passionate as Andrew is, as passionate as Blind One may be, as passionate as Jagaban may be, the bottom line is his allegiance is not to this nation. His allegiance is to Nigeria because he's a citizen of Nigeria. Now, the last thing I'd like to say about Andrew is this. The problem we have in our nation is that you've got people that fear him. Oh no, don't talk against Seer 1. Don't say anything about Jagaban. He's going to come after you. Folks, that is the mark of a cult leader. Anytime a religious figure or a spiritualist drills into your mind that if you speak against him, then, oh, something bad's going to happen to you. Oh, you can't talk about Seer 1. Have you lost your mind? He's going to come after you. Folks, the most ridiculous, the most foolish, the most idiotic, the most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my life. He's a man just like you are. Don't you put him up where he's not supposed to be. And it's people like you that make him a god. You are the ones that give him the power that he doesn't even have. So here's my admonition. Okay, because some of you asked me the question, well, if you call Jagaban a false prophet, then who is a real prophet? Well, the real prophet, the Apostle Paul said, whatsoever things are noble, good, just, speak on these things. So if you've got a prophet, all he ever does is talk about, oh, this is going to happen. Or that. Listen, we all know there are problems in this nation. We all know that this administration has got issues to deal with. We know that. We don't need Seer 1 to tell us that. You know, I read some of your comments. Oh, Seer 1, you done opened my eyes. Oh, Seer 1, I didn't see it till now. Oh, Seer 1, you're so brave. And you, folks, he's preaching to the choir. He's telling you what you already know. And there you are, lifting him up and putting him on a pedestal where he does not belong. And you fear him. There's nothing to fear. During his video, he made reference to a minister that had called him to apologize to him. Why? because you were scared of him. You fear him. There's nothing to fear. He's a man just like you. He's got flaws and faults and cracks and nooks just like you. He is nowhere near divine. He is nowhere near perfect. He has led you to believe that he's perfect. He's not. He's led you to believe that he's all powerful. He's not. He's led you to believe that he can somehow miraculously change your life by simply typing his number in the comment section. Nonsense, ridiculous, hogwash, absolutely rubbish. So here's the thing, folks. Seer 1, Blind 1, is talking about things that are affecting this nation. And look, I agree. There are things that he's saying that are true. They're components of his message that are true. But here's the thing, folks. If a murderer tells me the sky is blue, he's a murderer, but he's telling me the truth. Who would I rather accept the truth from? A murderer who tells me that the sky is blue, or an upstanding citizen that tells me the sky is blue? I'd rather listen to the upstanding citizen. So you can't just walk up and say, no, but you're stating the truth. Well, consider the source. Consider where that truth is coming from. Don't be hoodwinked, folks. Don't be boxed into a corner by this spiritualist who somehow tells you that he's got the power of do as I say. Because at the end of the day, really, the truth is, everything that Andrew does, he does because he knows he's going to get money from you. That's what this is about. That's all it's about. And trust me when I tell you, there's no such thing as do as I say. It doesn't exist. You know why? Because God has miraculously gifted us with the ability to choose. Every single solitary human being on the face of this earth is a free moral agent. What we do, we choose. We are the captains of our destiny. We acquiesce to God's will. God never imposes his will onto us. We yield to his will. We acquiesce to his will. But we are never forced to do anything. There is not a single human being on this earth that can place a hoax on you to make you do what he wants you to do. So this idea that Seer 1, Blind 1, Andrew the Jagaban has some type of miracle working power that can cause you to do things that you do not want to do, that is a money-making scheme, folks. Take it as that. It's a money-making scheme. So here's the bottom line. Yes, Andrew said some things last night that were true about the current administration. We agree with that. But to suggest that Andrew has some type of power is erroneous. That's what he wants. He wants to convince you that he is all powerful. Honey, he's a man just like you. So take what you will from that and understand that don't fear him. You can lend him your ear if you want, but I'm not going to allow that man to pour oil into my ear on a consistent basis at the expense of my own nation. I'm a Zambian citizen. He's not. No matter what happens, he can never come to my rescue as a Zambian citizen. Vice versa. I can never go to Seer 1 and go to his rescue if something's happening in Nigeria, because he's a Nigerian citizen. I'm a Zambian citizen. That nation over there, see that flag? My allegiance is to that flag. No other flag on the earth, on earth. Just that one. Okay?